This is a three-part series on New Year's resolutions and how your relationship with fear has so much to do with the whole process. First, we're going to explore why you pick what you pick. Second, we're going to explore the 2 reasons why you don't follow through before January is even over. And third, we're going to explore what you can do instead so that you do follow through and it's not such a problem. And yes, these 3 come down to not fear itself, but specifically your relationship with fear. Okay, part 1, why you choose your particular New Year's resolution. It works like this. This is your comfort zone, and in it, you still feel fear, but not that much. Whenever you resolve to do something differently, this means you're willing to step out of your comfort zone where there exists fear. Which is why, however large your New Year's resolution is, it's directly tied to how much fear you're willing to feel. So let's say you have a small resolution, lose 5 pounds, maybe ask your boss for a raise, start writing in a journal. You're not putting yourself out there too much because you don't want to deal with too much fear, right? You're only willing to take on a little bit of fear. Maybe because you have fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear you'll make a fool out of yourself. Granted, you may not be aware of any of this, but it will be there. Anytime you're out of your comfort zone, fear is there. And if your resolution is small, you're only willing to go a little bit out there. If you have a medium resolution, lose 20 pounds, maybe a career change, write and publish maybe a magazine article, medium fear, you're willing to step even further out of your comfort zone. And then if you have a big resolution, like lose 50 pounds, start a business, write and publish a book, that's a large resolution. You're willing to accept a large amount of fear into your life. You're willing to step way out of your comfort zone. Now, why you choose your specific resolution comes down to 3 layers of questions here. Now, the top layer question is, what is it that I resolve to do this coming year? It's an interesting question. But far more interesting is beneath that question is how big is my willingness to take risks this coming year? The deepest question still, the overriding unconscious question beneath all of this then, is how much fear am I willing to feel this coming year? A little or a whole lot? See, if you go down deeper, you'll see that this is all about, at your core, your relationship with fear. If you have a small goal, you're only willing to feel a little fear. If you have a big goal, you're willing to feel a lot of fear. On New Year's resolutions, here are the 2 reasons why you don't keep them. If you fall off it before January's even over, again, it comes down to not fear itself, but how you relate to fear. It works like this. Let's say you want to lose weight, maybe stop drinking, become more connected with your spouse, act on a business idea. All these things are scary, right? Making a New Year's resolution then is really you being willing to do something out of your comfort zone where there exists fear. The first reason why you don't follow up is, come mid-January, you lose your willingness to feel fear in favor of going back into your comfort zone. Let me give you 2 examples of what I mean. Let's say your resolution is to lose weight. Now, a lot of folks are what's called emotional eaters, but you're not eating because you're emotional. You're eating because you don't want to have to deal with your emotions, namely fear. You eat to not have to feel them. But if you go on a diet and eat less, guess what? Now you have to deal with your emotions instead of covering them up with food. Now you have to deal with your fear. If you don't want to do that, you fall off your diet. Hint, it works that way with alcohol too. Here's a second example. Let's say your resolution is to act on a business idea. Now, it's scary to put yourself out there. You have to make cold calls, spend money which you might not get back. What if no one thinks it's a good idea? You have fear of rejection, fear of failure. If you become unwilling to feel fear, you'll start procrastinating and give up the resolution. You procrastinate, can you see, because you don't want to have to feel your fear. And you don't start the new business or the new career, think about it, because you don't want to have to deal with that fear of rejection or fear of failure anymore. Not succeeding in your resolutions then, can you see that's you reverting back to not willing to feel fear? The second reason why you don't follow through is, well, there's a payoff for keeping your problem around. Now, this payoff can be very personal. There's millions of them, but here are a few short examples. Let's say your resolution is to stop drinking. Well, if you stop drinking, now you have to deal with some aspect of your life that sucks that you've been avoiding having to deal with by drinking. Something that is probably pretty scary to deal with. But if you keep drinking, you continue to not have to deal with that fear. Like, that's the payoff for drinking. The other example is, let's say your resolution is you want to connect more deeply with your spouse. But if you stay alienated from your spouse, you don't ever have to be vulnerable, which is scary. Staying distant, though, you don't have to deal with the fear there either. can you see that there's a payoff for keeping your problem around? And the payoff usually has something to do with avoiding fear, which is a lot easier to do than feel it. On New Year's resolutions, here's exactly what you need to do in order to achieve them. Now, first we explored why you pick what you pick. Then we explored the 2 reasons why we drop the resolution before January's even over. And third, here is now how you instead pull it off. And again, it has everything to do with how you deal with your fear. If you make a New Year's resolution, this is you willing to step out of your comfort zone, which is scary. Making a resolution is you willing to accept some fear in your life in the upcoming year. Let's call it you leaning into your fear. Then come mid-January, when you switch to hell no, I don't want to do the scary thing after all, that is you resisting fear. How you accomplish the resolution then is, well, you guessed it, you lean back into the fear. You become willing again to feel the fear instead of resisting it. In fact, this is not just how you stay on track with your resolution, but how you not procrastinate or back off from anything that you want to do. Now, leaning back into your fear is not as scary as it sounds. Here are 3 tips on how to do this. The first tip is, I recommend if you're usually a fear avoider in this area of your life where you made the resolution, that you plan to step no more than 4% or just a little bit out of your comfort zone on any given day. So fear that inevitably shows up is more gentle. Like, for example, instead of quitting drinking, just quit drinking today. Instead of resolving to lose 50 pounds, eat fewer calories only today. Instead of putting yourself under pressure to make $1 million in under a year, commit to making 1 cold call and maybe spending an hour on your business plan today. Anything more and you're too far out of your comfort zone and the fear will become overwhelming, making you resist it again. My second tip is get what I'm about to tell you at the deepest part of your core. Your resolution involves you feeling fear. Given this, when it shows up, you should expect it to show up. Expect it to show up and it will not then come as such a surprise. Now, fear is a normal and natural part of wanting to step out of your comfort zone and change your life. So when it shows up, and it will, really get that it is not a sign of personal weakness. It's actually a sign you're on the right path. Here's my third tip. In order to follow through on your resolution, do something every day that scares you. And mind you, the scariest thing of all is being willing to sit with your fear when it comes up instead of eating or drinking it away. Or speak out to your boss or your spouse about something that you normally wouldn't bring up. That could be your scary thing. It might not go well, but at least it'll be a step towards fulfilling your resolution rather than sitting for another year stuck and not moving forward on your dreams. Now, I had a New Year's resolution once to write a book, and it was terrifying. 3 years of my life invested for something nobody might ever even read. But there's a saying, how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. Every day I either wrote for a few hours or told people about it so they would get excited for when it came out. And it was scary as hell, but in my willingness to lean into my fear a little bit every day, it worked out great for me. If you need help navigating the shift with fear and taking it even deeper and learning how to fully lean into it rather than resist it, go to KristenUlmer.com. I can offer you a ton of support to help you on your journey. But meanwhile, thank you and good luck in this next year. By embracing and leaning into your fear, expecting the fear to be there as a normal and natural part of following through on any resolution, I have no doubt you're going to do great.